band coming, don't I? I see flags and stuff. There's some signs of life. All right. Stream start. Not yet. We'll give it another minute.
So, Reg, how much roaming room do I have? Okay, good.
We're wireless.
Great.
You can do interviews right here?
Perfect.
Yeah, like, we don't want to go that way because they're all there.
Yes, yes. Greg, how are you? Good to see you,
sir.
Good to see you. Everything good? Very good. No last minute changes to the list as we were given it?
Nothing to know, but the mascots at the end are sweating so much they may drop on the floor. So if that happens,
Really? Okay. Okay, very good.
Are you ready? You want to get going, or you want to wait?
Let's wait until we see the band. I mean, at least I like to. First of all, if we started the feed now, we would just see
we'd see nothing.
We'd see law enforcement. So I think we should start. Once we see the band.
Once the band gets past that yellow.
Yes.
ATV thing.
Yes. Because who?
We're on Slate.
So I can't be here without the vest. If you want to just like
Sounds
try
good.
texting
Yeah.
or whatever.
We're up. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. So
Once those flags get in front of the
who's our
flag.
main camera?
Matt.
David. Okay. So I guess my thought is we should start the feed once you can actually see something.
Yeah.
That's not just.
I mean, I see a flag coming. That's probably the real start of the parade, but I can't really see past.
Are we gonna have to?
They're going to move. If we have to, we will, but.
Let me have them drop Slate, and then I'll give you the. All right, you ready?
Dusk in Cooperstown, New York, Main Street, and one of the great vistas of the entire sports year, the Parade of Legends in Cooperstown on Hall of Fame Weekend 2025. I'm John Palmerosi of MLB Network, honored to have the broadcast here of the Parade of Legends on the MLB app, MLB.tv, and MLB.com. The first guests of the evening, the Cooperstown VFW Color Guard, and then also representatives of the Cooperstown Youth Little League. We have an incoming class of 5 inductees to the Baseball Hall of Fame tomorrow, live on MLB Network. Our coverage begins 11 a.m. Eastern Time. CC Sabathia, Ichiro Suzuki, Billy Wagner, Dick Allen, and Dave Parker. Arriving now to the Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum, Hall of Fame Chairman Jane Forbes Clark, and the President of the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum, Josh Rowich. And we thank, as we do every year, the Baldwinsville High School Marching Band, Baldwinsville, New York, with their musical stylings. For those joining us for the first time, we expect to have all of the returning Hall of Famers joining us during the Parade of Legends. We will go from the oldest class first, culminating, of course, with this year's 5 new members. The parade here typically lasts about 1 hour. Will include research notes from our great researcher Craig Nordquist at MLB Network, and also interviews with some of the returning Hall of Famers. Of course, for the main attractions, we'll wait till tomorrow to hear their words during their live speeches on MLB Network. On this great day in Cooperstown, we wish to congratulate the award winners who were honored today. Thomas Boswell, the eminent baseball writer of the Washington Post, who received the BBWAA Career Excellence Award, and Tom Hamilton, the voice of the Cleveland Guardians, the winner of this year's Ford C. Frick Award. Both of them gave beautiful speeches today at the Glimmerglass Opera. I was very honored to be able to attend and hear their speeches. Also, Tom hosted a wonderful roundtable conversation about the 1995 Cleveland Indians with former manager Mike Hargrove, Hall of Fame slugger Jim Thome, and then farm director Mark Shapiro. And now our first Hall of Famer of the day, from the class of 1983, Juan Marichal, the first ever native of the Dominican Republic to be elected to the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. So many inductees from the Dominican Republic who are honored here in Cooperstown, invariably they mention the great Marichal and all that he did for baseball in the Dominican, and how honored they are to continue his legacy. Those were the words of Adrian Beltre 1 year ago when he entered the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now making his way toward the steps of the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum, the Dominican dandy Juan Marichal, and now entering center stage, Main Street, Billy Williams. Sweet swinging Billy Williams of the Chicago Cubs, Hall of Fame class of 1987. Billy Williams played a pivotal role in the Hall of Fame career of another former Chicago Cub. It was Billy Williams who advised Lee Smith to continue playing baseball when, amid some early frustrations in the minor leagues, Lee Smith considered abandoning baseball to instead play the sport of basketball in college. Fortunately for the Cubs, for Lee Smith, he decided to stay with baseball, and now Lee Smith has joined Billy Williams in the Hall of Fame. Johnny Bench, ever youthful, ever the showman, Hall of Fame class of 1989 arrives resplendent in the red and white of the Big Red Machine. His passion for this game and this place greater than ever. When I've spoken with Hall of Famers, they always describe to me the custom that Johnny Bench has for newly elected Hall of Famers. They'll be back at the Otis Saga after the speeches are done on Sunday evening, and it's Johnny Bench who sits with them on the veranda and invites them all to just take a look around at the beautiful scene, Otsego Lake, and their many career achievements that have led them to this moment. Johnny Bench, in so many ways, the conscience of the Hall of Fame class of 1989. From the Hall of Fame class of 1991, Rod Carew. It was 1 year ago that Carew joined so many Twins inductees in celebration of Joe Mauer. The Twins have always had such a strong contingent of players in the Hall of Fame. Of course, Carew was a contemporary in Minnesota of current Hall of Famers Tony Oliva and Jim Cott. And then, of course, into the 1980s, Kirby Puckett became a Hall of Famer. Bert Blyleven, who began his career with the Twins, and then, of course, was part of their 1987 World Series winning team. Jim Thome spent some time as a Twin late in his career. Jack Morris pitched for his hometown Twins. Dave Winfield, Paul Molitor, both grew up in St. Paul and played for the Twins. A rich history for the Minnesota Twins on display here in Cooperstown every summer, and now led today, the Parade of Legends, the great Rod Carew, Hall of Fame class of 1991. Ferguson Jenkins, the Hall of Fame class of 1991. The first Canadian elected to the National Baseball Hall of Fame, the pride of Chatham, Ontario, not far at all from Detroit, Michigan. And Ferguson once told me the story about how his father would bring him across the border into downtown Detroit, Tiger Stadium, to watch the great Hall of Famer Larry Doby. Larry Doby broke the color barrier in the American League, and Ferguson Jenkins told me what a great impact it made for him to see someone who looked like him on the field in a major league game. Ferguson Jenkins also, as someone who is an avid fan of the sport of hockey in his home country, Ferguson has had the chance to speak with the great Willie O'Ree, the Hockey Hall of Famer, who broke the color barrier in his sport. Raleigh Fingers, Hall of Fame class of 1992, revolutionized the role of the relief pitcher in the game. Someone who was a part of those iconic and charismatic Oakland Athletics teams of the 1970s. As Raleigh Fingers signs some autographs, now comes from the Hall of Fame class of 1993, Reggie Jackson. Mr. October. He has worked in recent years as an advisor for the Houston Astros. From the Hall of Fame class of 1995, Mike Schmidt, the Philadelphia icon. And it's an especially emotional weekend for Mike Schmidt. He was a good friend of Dick Allen's during Allen's tenure with the Philadelphia Phillies. And Mike Schmidt has shared with me some amazing stories about the way in which Dick Allen overcame much of the discrimination that he faced as a player. We are joined now by the great Rollie Fingers. And Rollie, you get to add a new relief pitcher to the Hall of Fame this weekend, and Billy Wagner. What are your thoughts on his career?
Well, we finally got a left-hander in here. He had some great stats. He was a great closer, over 400 saves, and a real low ERA, but he did the job for years for Houston, and he's a great pitcher, certainly deserving.
As you watch the relievers of today, Rollie, what are your thoughts on just the amazing stuff we see out of the modern bullpens?
The guys were throwing a lot harder. They're throwing 92, 93 mile an hour sliders, and I was lucky to get it up to 94 maybe in a fastball. But guys are throwing harder, and they got pretty good stuff. So I think the bullpen's really changed.
And finally, Rollie, I love asking this question. When you're here at the Oda Saga, you get a chance to see your fraternity brothers here in the Hall of Fame. Which conversations have meant the most to you this year, people that you've been able to reconnect with?
Oh, I see Reggie Jackson, Ted Simmons, Robin Yount, Paul Mahler, guys I played ball with. So it's nice to see those guys. The only time I really see them is when we come back here.
It's a special place, Rollie, and you make it special. Thanks so much for your time.
All right, thank you. Nice to be here.
Thank you, thank you. The great Rollie Fingers. George Brett has arrived, as we always like to say, an eternal teenager. George Brett has the enthusiasm of a 19-year-old rookie, especially when he arrives here in Cooperstown. We've seen number 5, Johnny Bench, and now we see number 5, George Brett. And here is someone who arrived to the major leagues, and specifically the American League, at the same time as Brett. Robin Yount, who, just as George Brett did, spent his entire career with one franchise, the Milwaukee Brewers. Yes, George Brett, how we doing? We're joined now by the great George Brett.
Doing great.
So I made the comparison, you and Robin Yount, one franchise. What does your friendship with Robin mean to you still to this day?
It's really special. You know, we came up about the same time, retired the same year. We got 3,000 hits within 2 weeks of each other. We both live in Arizona. Part of the, he lives there a lot more than I do, but no, it's been a friendship that's been going on forever. And not only with me, but our wives have become good friends, and it's really special.
You shared with me before, George, that at times when you talk to Mike Schmidt, he has said that he might have wanted your career and vice versa. Is that true?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't mind hitting 500 home runs and stuff like that and win 15 gold gloves. But, it's funny. You play against these guys, and you don't like them as players when you're playing against them. I never liked Mike Schmidt. And ever since I've gotten inducted in the Hall of Fame, now we're the closest. He's one of my closest friends. I never liked Reggie. Now me and Reggie are great friends. I never liked Goose. Goose never liked me. Now we're great friends. But it's a great fraternity. I'm honest. Very honored to be a part of it, and to come back here every year and see these guys is great.
And finally, George, multiple batting titles for you and also for Ichiro. What do you admire about his hitting style as he becomes a Hall of Famer tomorrow?
Well, how old was he when he came over?
27.
27. That's like a 27-year-old rookie coming in, and I'm doing the things that he did. And after I retired baseball, it kind of, I only followed the Royals. I don't follow all the other teams. And the other day, someone told me, oh, this is his glove from the Yankees. I said, I didn't know he played for the Yankees. Oh, this is what he played for Tampa. I didn't know he played for Tampa Bay. I thought he was a Seattle Mariner his whole life, like me and Robin and just a handful of guys, you know, Cal and Tony Gwynn and Derek Jeter and stuff. But no, what he was able to accomplish it's mind-boggling. That how many hits he got? I mean, what, 8 or 9 200 hit seasons? I mean, it's just mind-boggling. And a great defensive player as well. And to come over from Japan with all the pressure and perform like that, my hat goes off to him.
George, congratulations and welcome home. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. The great George Brett. Arriving now from the Hall of Fame class of 2000, Carlton Fisk, of course, beloved in New England, which is a very short drive from where we are now in upstate New York, and of course on the south side of Chicago as well. Our second member of the Big Red Machine arriving now to the steps of the Hall of Fame from the class of 2000, Tony Perez. Tony, one of 3 Cuban-born members of the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum, who have played in the major leagues since the middle of the 20th century. Perez, Minnie Minoso, and Tony Oliva, who is here this weekend as well. As Tony Perez signs autographs, now arriving along Main Street here in Cooperstown from the Hall of Fame class of 2001, Dave Winfield, one of the greatest athletes in American history, drafted by 4 different professional sports leagues.
Mr. Winfield, they don't give you enough credit for being the greatest athlete of our generation. Mr. Winfield. Dave. How come they don't give you the credit like Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders? Dave, down here. You're the best athlete we know. Dave, if you're down here, please. I don't know anybody who was a better athlete than this guy.
Thank you very much. We are joined now by the great Tony Perez. And Tony, you competed against Dick Allen in the National League. What was it like to play against him?
Oh, facing him was good. I'm glad I was a pitcher because it was hard to get him out. He was the strongest man I ever seen. I met him in 1960, my first year in the minor leagues, and he been my friend for years. I'm so sorry he passed away.
And Dave Parker in the National League in the 1970s as well. How do you describe the tools, the throwing arm, the power of the Cobra?
Well, the Cobra to me, they have five pieces that he can do. He can play, he can run, he can kick, he can hit, and he was a hell of a player. And this was one of my teammate. I enjoyed playing with him, and he was a hell of a guy.
And finally, Tony, I saw Johnny Bench basically jump off the truck. How does he have all this energy still, Johnny Bench? It looks like he wants to still play.
I don't know. He might want to play. You know, Johnny can do anything he wants to.
Tony, gracias por todo. Disfruta.
Thank you, man.
Gracias. Thank you so much. The great Tony Perez. Eddie Murray, a member of the 3,000 hit club, making his way toward the steps of the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum, and now arriving along Main Street, Dennis Eckersley, Hall of Fame class of 2004. Arriving now along Main Street, Paul Molitor with his son, Ben. Ben just graduated from high school in Minnesota. He will be playing college baseball as well. Paul Molitor went to the same high school as 2024 inductee Joe Mauer. That, of course, Creighton Durham Hall, St. Paul, Minnesota. Wade Boggs, Hall of Fame class of 2005, arriving along Main Street. And Wade and I had a wonderful conversation yesterday. Certainly he is thinking so much this weekend of his Hall of Fame classmate from the class of 2005, the great Ryne Sandberg. Sandberg releasing a statement recently about the challenge of his battle with prostate cancer, and Wade Boggs thinking of him here today. Wade Boggs is a noted wrestling fan. Perhaps an homage there. Of 2009, Boston Red Sox icon, the great Jim Rice. Class of 2011, Bert Blyleven. When he retired, he ranked third in Major League history in strikeouts. He said to me in a conversation earlier today that when he passed Walter Johnson, he really took notice of just how much he had achieved in his baseball career. Born in the Netherlands, he lived for several years in Canada before his family settled in Orange County, and he was able to finish his career pitching for his hometown, California Angels. Pat Gillick Hall of Fame class of 2011 built postseason teams and World Series winning teams in multiple cities. He was the GM of the expansion Toronto Blue Jays, and in his final year as a general manager, his Philadelphia Phillies won the 2008 World Series. He won in markets big and small, a talented evaluator of players, and someone who was always willing to make a big-time trade. Thank you so much, Paul. I appreciate it. Thank you. Joined by the Hall of Famer, Paul Molitor.
I never get to talk to you, man. I'm going to take advantage when you ask me.
Let's do this.
Here we are.
Sounds great. So along the lines, your great hometown in the Twin Cities, the Twins have such great representation here. All these Twins Hall of Famers. What are those relationships like for you across the generations?
Yeah, well, you know, you take a little pride, especially being a Minnesotan myself. Just the last 3 years, Jim Cott and Tony Oliva finally getting their day in the sun, and of course Joe Mauer last year in his first year on the ballot. You know, Dave Winfield and Jack Morris and Joe all grew up within about a 5-mile radius in St. Paul. No more for hockey than baseball, to be quite honest with you, so we take a little pride in that.
And how proud are you to see Joe Mauer? He's the youngest of all the Hall of Famers. You see his son Chip out there on the lawn playing wiffle ball. What has the Mauer family now brought to Cooperstown?
I wish I could live long enough to be Chip's agent, because I got a feeling he's going to do something special too. Joe's got a beautiful family. He's the real deal as far as honesty and humble, and he represents Minnesota and the Twins organization as good as possible.
Your son Ben is here with you, Paul. How proud are you to share this experience with him?
Well, it's special. You know, he's had a chance to come a couple times now. My son Ben just graduated high school, going to play Division II baseball next year in Minnesota. But just to share this experience, to meet some of these people, you know, Cooperstown weekend, highlight of the year every given year.
And finally, Dave Parker, someone that you competed against. For those that didn't watch Dave Parker play, how do you describe the man and the ball player?
Well, thanks for asking about Dave. It's tough that, you know, with his passing a month before, I actually played with Dave. He was in Milwaukee, I think it was 1989 possibly. And I loved every minute of it, you know. And Dave overcame a lot in a lot of different facets of his life to end up being not only the player he was, but he took a lot of his life experiences to help other people along the way. He was a great leader and a great teammate, and really happy for his family to experience his long overdue induction this weekend.
Paul, thank you so much for sharing that. And again, we're going to make this an annual appointment. You come talk to me anytime, all right? The door is always open, my friend.
I like that. No pressure.
Thank you so much, Paul. Enjoy. Thank you so much. Paul Molitor. As you see images of Barry Larkin signing autographs, he is someone who often speaks of the impact that Dave Parker made on him in his career when Dave Parker arrived to Cincinnati in the mid-1980s. Joe Torre, Hall of Fame class of 2014, here with his wife, Allie. Remains so active in the community through his Safe at Home Foundation to help victims of domestic violence. Craig Biggio thrilled to have another Houston Astro in the Hall of Fame with the induction of his longtime teammate Billy Wagner tomorrow. Randy Johnson, the big unit, part of the Hall of Fame class of 2015, along with Craig Biggio and Pedro Martinez. Randy Johnson shared with me earlier this year that the intensity that you saw on the mound was not necessarily his true personality. He is someone that now in retirement is a much gentler, contemplative, thoughtful person. And he talked about how that fire he had on the mound was a necessity for his greatness, and now he is immersed in the world of photography, and a new dimension for him has opened up.
Randy. Randy, right over here. Mr. Johnson, can you come over here? Come on, don't push him, guys. Mr. Randy, can you please come over here?
You were pretty good. I don't know if you knew. Randy, you actually skipped me.
Mr. Johnson.
Photography.
Johnson,
Randy,
Mr.
Johnson.
The other way.
Do you have a custom photo my wife made of you?
Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you so much, Randy.
Johnson, the placard, please.
My dad named me after you. My wife too.
Thank you.
Oncoming Ford truck carrying the great Pedro Martinez. The party follows him wherever it goes. And you'll be able to hear it here very soon.
Sweet spot, please. Sweet spot. Sweet spot. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Johnson. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Photograph of Pedro Martinez and Juan Marichal holding up the Dominican flag. We are joined by Tom Glavine. Tom, thank you so much for your time here today. The Atlanta Braves have such a strong contingent here, as they always do. How much do you enjoy reconnecting with your buddies here?
You know, it's always good being around those guys, but I mean, it's great coming around here and being around all these guys. I mean, I say it all the time. It's the best fraternity in the world to be a part of. So come back here, be around all these guys, and we all get better with age, and we all have better stories with age, so it's great.
And you get a new left-hander now in Billy Wagner. What do you admire the most about Billy and, of course, CeCe Sabathia as well?
Well, you know, with Billy, he was just tough. He took the ball all the time. He went out there and he got after guys and he got the job done. You know, I'm glad he's here. I think it was about 5 years too late, but I'm glad he's here, and I think the same could be said of CeCe. You know, I think there's a guy that could have pitched in any generation, old school. Went out there, took the ball, went deep into games, and, was just a real competitor out there in the mound. So I'm happy for those guys, happy for Ichiro. So it's, and Dave Parker and Richie Allen. So it's going to be a great year, and, just enjoy it.
I know Bobby Cox not able to travel here for this weekend, Tom, but just on this special weekend, your reflections on your manager and the impact that he made on your career.
Well, I've said it a lot. I've had probably my two biggest influences in me on my life were my dad and Bobby. So, and Bobby was a lot like my dad, so there are a lot of similarities there. I mean, he taught me a lot about baseball, obviously, but a lot about the responsibility of being on a team and being on time and going out and competing. So, we miss having him here, but listen, I can't think of a better guy to have been able to play for all those years than Bobby Cox.
And finally, Tom, who do you love talking about stories back and forth about World Series games? You win one against Cleveland, some tough ones against the Yankees. Which are the stories that come up the most about Octobers?
We got, it's funny on the drive over here, so to speak. I got a Cleveland fan that was not so happy with me, and then two Toronto and two Yankee fans that really were pretty happy with me. So, it kind of runs the gamut. But, I think a lot of that stuff kind of goes by the wayside when you get here. And, and I think when you get with guys, like I said, I think we all just admire each other's careers and what we all accomplished, and then just kind of enjoy being here with each other.
The stories get better every year, Tom.
Yes, they do, for sure.
The pride of Billerica, Massachusetts, Tom Glavine. Thanks for your time today.
My pleasure. Thanks.
Thanks, Tom. Thank you. The great Tom Glavine here in Cooperstown. Mere days away, but he is always able to take the time to be here with his Hall of Fame family on induction weekend. He was once a minor league shortstop in the Cincinnati Reds organization. He is now a Hall of Famer who has represented the Padres and the Brewers, of course, as a closer. Trevor Hoffman, class of 2018. Jack Morris, most wins in the 1980s, and in 2018 he entered the Hall of Fame with his longtime Detroit Tigers teammate, Alan Trammell. Beautiful evening here in Cooperstown as we near 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Dusk here in the summer months is simply magical. That's the case again today. Less than 24 hours away from the induction ceremonies for the class of 2025. You can watch live on MLB Network. Our pre-ceremony coverage begins 11 a.m. and the ceremony itself, we hear John Fogerty's center field play at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Jim Thome, Hall of Fame class of 2018. What a great conversation it was earlier today at the Glimmerglass Opera, where Jim joined the now Hall of Fame broadcaster Tom Hamilton in a conversation about the 1995 Cleveland Indians. Moments away, we'll be joined now by Randy Johnson. Randy, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. Your thoughts on Ichiro Suzuki's arrival, of course, a fellow Seattle Mariner to the Hall of Fame.
Well, he was never my teammate, but being in Seattle where I played, and he played as many years as I did there, and he basically rewrote the record books there in Seattle and in Major League Baseball, so I couldn't be more happy for him.
How about CC Sabathia as a fellow left-hander?
Well, I know a little bit more about Ichiro because obviously he played in Seattle. CC, I just said hi to and congratulated. I couldn't be happy for the whole, more happy than I am for the whole class. It's great for baseball and great ball players and great people.
And then Billy Wagner, there was a little bit of a connection there with Houston, I'm sure. But for a left-handed reliever, obviously shorter in stature than you, what stood out to you about the way that Billy Wagner got it done?
Well, I actually played in Seattle in '98. I got traded from Seattle to Houston. Billy was there. He was saving my game. So obviously I gave him a very special welcome to the Hall of Fame.
Randy, congratulations. Always great to have you back in Cooperstown. Welcome home.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Randy Johnson. Pedro Martínez, pero ¿cómo está? ¿En inglés o español?
Como quiera.
let's start with English. Sí, gracias. Let's start with English. Billy Wagner, your teammate with the Mets.
Yes.
What stood out to you about being able to play with him for those 3 years?
To see how quickly he did everything he needed to do. I remember flying with him on a plane, and he was second guessing whether he was going to make it if he didn't get certain amount of saves. And I said, no, Billy, what you have done so quickly, I think it's going to be deserving at the end of the day. And especially the way the game is going, you will rarely find guys that would do so much in such a short period of time.
You competed against CC Sabathia in your final World Series in 2009. What did it mean to share that stage, that great Phillies-Yankees World Series with CC Sabathia?
I'm extremely honored to have competed against CC, and it's unfortunate that me and him didn't play together, just like guys like Gary Sheffield. I always wanted to play with guys like Gary Sheffield. So many players that I just respect and admire. CC is one of those guys that wasn't intimidated by the moment. CC is one of those guys that would just pick up the ball when you give him the ball. And you rarely find those guys anymore. But extremely proud of CC and the new class coming into the Hall of Fame. I'm extremely proud of each individual that's coming in.
So Pedro in your prime against Ichiro in his prime, one at bat, how are you going to pitch him?
Never the same location. I'll vary speed, and if I happen to get ahead, I'll force him to pull the ball.
Finalmente en español, miro el foto de Juan Marichal y usted con la bandera de la Dominicana. ¿Cuál es la significancia de su conexión con Juan Marichal?
Es mucho respeto, es mucha y mutua admiración de parte mía principalmente, porque yo no lo pude ver jugar, pero él a mí sí, y mucho respeto por esos números tan grandes que puso don Juan Marichal, y sobre todo es por el gran ejemplo que dejó de perseverancia para todos nosotros los latinos. Así como Roberto Clemente hizo lo que hizo, don Juan Marichal, cuando se trata de picheo, nos puso los estándares a cada uno de nosotros y los puso muy alto. Así que para mí un gran orgullo poder compartir no solamente tierra, sino también este museo que a todos nos identifica por cosas grandes que hemos hecho.
Don Pedro Martínez también, gracias por tu tiempo y tu paciencia como español también.
Gracias a ti por tratar en español y por hacerlo tan bien como lo haces.
Sí, gracias Pedro, gracias.
Es un placer, mucho respeto por eso.
Gracias, gracias. Disfruta el fin de semana, gracias por todo.
Gracias.
Thank you. The great Pedro Martinez.
Thank you for all the memories, Mo.
This also involves these.
You're the best, my man.
Thank you, Mo. I saw you at the golf course.
Please, Mr. Rivera.
Signs, autographs here along the fence line on Main Street. Lee Smith, Hall of Fame class of 2019, arrives as well. He has gone through some health challenges in recent years, but is now doing better than ever. Had a wonderful conversation with Lee recently, and his storytelling about his journey is simply extraordinary. He was signed for the Cubs by the late, great Buck O'Neil. Buck O'Neil, a Hall of Famer himself, he was the signing scout for Lee Smith with the Chicago Cubs. A look here at Cal Ripken signing autographs for the fans. One fan extending the orange number 8 jersey that Cal wore with such distinction and pride as a Baltimore Oriole for his entire career. From the Hall of Fame class of 2020, Derek Jeter, the captain, has arrived. Derek and his wife Hannah are here with their 3 daughters. They also have a son, Caius, now a family of 6. From the Hall of Fame class of 2020, Ted Simmons. Simmons, now one of 7 members of the 1970 St. Louis Cardinals who are in the Hall of Fame. The 7th, of course, Dick Allen, who spent 1 year with the St. Louis Cardinals. The full list of those Hall of Famers: Joe Torre, Dick Allen, Lou Brock, Ted Simmons, Bob Gibson, Steve Carlton, and their manager, Red Schoendienst. From the class of 2022, our longtime colleague here at MLB Network, Jim Cott. Jim Cott, the perennial Gold Glove winner and winner of more than 280 games in the major leagues, the native of Zeeland, Michigan. He finished his career with the St. Louis Cardinals, with whom he won a World Series in 1982. Tony Oliva, Hall of Fame class of 2022, the most recent Cuban-born inductee to the National Baseball Hall of Fame. He spent his entire playing career as a Minnesota Twin, and the career itself almost did not happen. He was released from his first spring training with the Twins, had to go to a minor league club in Charlotte, North Carolina to get back on the radar, and he did. The American League Rookie of the Year in 1975. He began his major league career with 200-hit seasons, back to back. He was certainly a crucial member of that Twins team that played a classic World Series before being defeated by the Los Angeles Dodgers of Koufax and Drysdale. From the Hall of Fame class of 2023, Fred McGriff. The Tampa, Florida area has produced now multiple Hall of Famers. The manager, Tony La Russa, Fred McGriff, Wade Boggs, grew up in the Tampa area, and many of today's preeminent sluggers, Pete Alonso and Kyle Tucker, also played their high school baseball in Tampa. In fact, at the same high school in Tampa. Fred McGriff, it is said often by those who were with the Braves, when he was traded there, it changed everything about that Braves franchise and moved them on to being eventual World Series champions in 1995. McGriff's Hall of Fame classmate from 2023, the longtime Cardinal, the longtime Red, Scott Rowland, the pride of Jasper, Indiana. Scott Rowland, a two-sport star in Indiana. At one point, his plans were to play both baseball and basketball at the University of Georgia. Instead, he signed with the Phillies, with whom he began his major league career before a career-defining trade to the St. Louis Cardinals, with whom he reached the 2004 World Series. From the Hall of Fame class of 2024, Adrian Beltre. He arrived in the major leagues as a teenager with the Los Angeles Dodgers. He signed what at the time was one of the largest contracts in baseball when he joined the Seattle Mariners. Then came one season with the Red Sox, and finally, the team with which he reached the World Series in 2011 and came to define his legacy as a 3,000-hit Gold Glove winning third baseman, Adrian Beltre. Beltre gave an extraordinary speech 1 year ago, joining that great Dominican legacy that we referenced before, which began with Juan Marichal. Last year was a class of 4: Beltre, Todd Helton, Jim Leland, and Joe Mauer. And now Helton, who spent his entire career as a Colorado Rocky, is the next to arrive. Jim Leland and his wife Katie have arrived at the steps of the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. Jim from the class of 2024, which means that we're about to meet this year's inductees. Welcome back, welcome back. Joined by Hall of Fame class of 2024, Todd Helton. Todd, how much more relaxed are you now than you were a year ago at this time?
Big time, big time. I haven't cried yet, which is good. But yeah, it's excited to be here and to come back and not have the responsibilities you had the year before. So I plan on being here every summer because it's so relaxing and it's just fun to get this many baseball fans in one spot.
And how emotional can it be, Todd, to be back here and realize this is now your new summer home and these are your teammates for life?
Yeah, it's pretty exclusive club. So yeah, I'm going to come back, try to make it every year, and yeah, I'm very happy to be here.
Do you have any encounters with Billy Wagner left on left that come to mind right now?
You know, I try to put those out of my mind because they usually didn't end well when he came in the game. You know, he's a great pitcher, great guy, and well-desered.
And finally, Todd, as a fellow lefty hitter, how do you admire Ichiro Suzuki, what he was able to do with the bat?
Man, the guy was amazing. He can do it all. And what a lot of people didn't know is, you know, in batting practice, when he wanted to, he could hit the ball a long ways. You know, he did it all. And how many hits did he get in Japan? I mean, yeah, it's crazy. So, yeah, he was the guy that I would pay to watch play. Yeah.
Todd, thank you so much for your time. Welcome back. Always great to see you, my friend. All the best. Thank you so much. Todd Helton, Hall of Fame class of 2024. We are nearing the arrival of the guests of honor this evening as the Baldwinsville, New York Marching Band makes their return. That tells us that we are nearing the guests of honor here in 2025 on Saturday at the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. Stay with us because those trucks that you want to see most are about to arrive. A reminder, our pre-ceremony coverage tomorrow on MLB Network begins at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. The ceremony itself, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. The Allen family is now arriving. Dick Allen, the late Dick Allen, one of three brothers who all played in Major League Baseball. His brother Ron is here this evening. His widow, Willa, is here. His son, Richard, and his son, Button, are here tonight as well. Willa is expected to give the speech on her husband's behalf tomorrow at the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. Dick Allen, an icon with multiple franchises. His career poignantly included a period with the Phillies at the beginning that was at times tumultuous, and then he was able to go back to Philadelphia with a much different reception later on in his career after he had certainly made a name for himself with the Dodgers, the Cardinals, and the Chicago White Sox. The late Dick Allen takes his rightful place in Cooperstown tomorrow as part of the class of 2025. The late Dave Parker, a Hall of Famer now as a member of the class of 2025. We expect tomorrow remarks to be delivered by his son, David II. His wife, Kelly, is here. His grandchildren, Amir and Aaliyah Harris, are here as well, as chants of the Cobra, ring out in Cooperstown. Yes. We are joined now by the great Adrian Beltre. Adrian, to be able to come back with no speech to give, how cool are you right now, my friend?
Oh, so relaxing this time. This is great. No, this is great. I know that last year was a little stressful. Family in town, a lot of stuff to do and to say, but now this time is more relaxed, so I'm really enjoying this.
You competed against CC Sabathia a lot in the American League. What do you remember about those encounters? Anyone that stands out to you?
They were tough at bat all the time. He was a tough competitor. I never enjoyed facing him, so it's the reason why he's here today. He was a true ace, and I admire him from the outside. You know, obviously I wanted to beat him when I was facing him, but he was a tough guy to face.
Something I greatly admire about both you and CC is that in retirement you have remained close to the game and you want to help shape the game's future. How much do you admire what CC is doing, working with the commissioner's office and bringing a lot of great ideas to the future of the game?
Yeah, he's doing a lot. I know he's been busy doing a lot of stuff, so it's glad to see guys like that means so much to the game, and he's been involved in another part of where the future is coming in. So, you know, I'm not as much as he does because he does a lot more, but, you know, I know that baseball's a good hand if it's guys like him.
And finally, what did you learn from playing alongside Ichiro in Seattle?
I learned how to hit. Yeah, I think Ichiro is one of the most talented hitters I've ever seen. And my opinion, I thought he's a lot more there than he didn't want to show because he had a lot of power. So, you know, he decided to hit more hits, get more base hits. There was a lot more there, but he was one of the amazing players that I ever played with.
Felicidades otra vez. Gracias por tu tiempo. Gracias.
Gracias.
Adrian Beltre, Hall of Famer, class of 2024. CC Sabathia has arrived. As I referenced in our conversation with Adrian Beltre a moment ago, CC has a very prominent role now in the commissioner's office. He was one of the driving forces behind that beautiful tribute that you saw to Hank Aaron at the All-Star Game. CC, his creativity, his passion for the game were on display in a new role, in a new way at the All-Star Game. And now Ichiro Suzuki is here. Ichiro has visited Cooperstown 7 different times as an active player. He believed it was very important to absorb and understand the meaning of the history of the game. He has certainly done that. He arrives now with his wife, Yumiko, and this is history. The first ever Japanese-born inductee to the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. He will be giving, I am sure, an extraordinary speech tomorrow. We do expect it's going to be in English, and I think it's going to be one of the more riveting, poignant, and yes, often funny speeches that we will hear. I recall that during his Mariners Hall of Fame speech, he told a great joke about how he had stepped up to the podium and was afraid to sit back down because he felt quite sure that Ken Griffey Jr. had put glue on his chair. There might be a joke or two in Ichiro's speech tomorrow. Billy Wagner, the first ever left-handed reliever to be elected to the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. A very athletic family indeed. His son Will, now a very valuable player with the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays playing a weekend series in Detroit this weekend. We do believe that, travel permitting, that Will is going to be able to be here tomorrow to welcome his father into the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. What a weekend for the Wagner family. Billy's daughter Olivia, also a very accomplished college basketball player, and Billy himself a head baseball coach at the Miller School in Virginia. We thank you for joining us for the 2025 edition of the Parade of Legends down Main Street in Cooperstown, New York. A reminder, tomorrow, join us for live coverage from Cooperstown beginning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on MLB Network, and the formal ceremony for the incoming class of 2025 begins here at the Clark Sports Center in Cooperstown at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much for joining us and for sharing in your love of this great game. Good evening from Cooperstown.